Now, how is everyone this afternoon? I hope you're doing just damn. I just roasted my doohickey. Roasted my hot dog. I was like, what does that smell? Damn it! All right. Roasted the hot dog, baby. Damn. I plumped my Frank. All right. So, we're here again to talk about the breakdown of the if. The if of, hey, Luda, what's up, baby? Hey, Sage. Now again, I want to lend some technical expertise, if I could, about the if. Right now, if anyone isn't aware of the if that I'm talking about here, um, here we go. Now, somebody already reported my videos. You got dirty dogs. Leave my videos alone. I did it on purpose, like this. All right. Okay. Now, good afternoon, Dodie, everybody. So, I'm gonna lend a little expertise, but to catch everyone up, first, let's go to TMs. So, about 18 minutes ago, well, let's refresh this so we can be completely accurate. Again, this isn't a bash fest. I just want to lend 31 minutes ago. I want to lend some technical expertise. So, regarding the if something happened to Summer on 125, there is an if that was picked up on both yours, Chasing, and Deet's videos. I never rely on anything other than my own ears to listen and interpret Jody. But both translators picked it up. It's not just the if for me, though. There's a whole entire sentence before the if that matters also. Jody speaks broken East Tennessee English, so it's hard, I know. So here you've got, this is on 808, 808. This is Chasing's video. So at 326, it did pick up the if. Now, I'm going to move back over here really quick. That's Deet's video. You can turn, here, we'll do it like this. That's Deet's video. And if you see at 640 in Deet's video, it picked up the if. And in fact, you can hear her say, if something happens. So it wasn't, the if didn't seem to be an issue to Deet's. However, it did seem to sort of get looked over. Now, this is on Chasing's video at 354 or 346. If something happens somewhere on 125. Now, I'm going to bring in a little technical expertise with the audio. So what I had to do was I screen recorded. I want to go through the process with you really quick to show you where I got to where I got. This is sort of like Martha Stewart in a way. So what I had was I took the original screen recording, okay? Here it is here. So I took the screen recording.
The part that has me still. Something happens on 125.
So I took that and I put that into an MP3 converter that I pay for, right? For samples and music and different things, right? So I took this video here and I converted it to an MP3. I sent the MP3 from here to my computer here. I put the MP3 into, I just opened up GarageBand. It's user-friendly. There's not a bunch of things you got to look at. It's not like Pro Tools, right? So let's go ahead and pull up this. Now, I'm going to come over here and bring up this is GarageBand interface. It looks much the same as what Carl's used on different calls that he's presented, right? So the top is our reference, okay? The top is the reference, and the bottom is a recording. It's a comparative. It's a comparison recording that I recorded, okay? Now, what we're going to look at right here, this is the track as it lays in the editor, and this is it's a bigger version of it, right? You can really blow it up, right? So we're not going to focus on the bottom right now. What we're going to focus on is the top, because the top has the reference audio in it that we're listening for, and that is the if, okay? Here we go.
Something happened somewhere on 125.
Now let me turn on the loop. This yellow is only a loop, is all it is. Now I'm going to go in here because you hear there's a little sound. There's some music. So I'm just cutting the music out is all I'm doing. There's no signatures until you get up into here. Now let me show you here on the bottom, just so you know I'm not cutting anything out. Right? There's a click signature here, right? Which is not part of the if, and I can show you how I know. It's a click. It's either an instrument where Dietz music went out and there was a cut that created a click signature here. That's what this is. So if I move it back here, you'll hear. You hear the song? So that's a click. Hear it? Just a. So I'm going to cut the click out. We're going to go to just this side of the click, right? Now you see there's no signature. The music isn't picking up on the recording. So what I'll do is I'll cut this signature all the way out, which is just going to be the ambient music that Dietz had in her recording. If something happened to Summer on 125. Hold on one second. I want to pull this up to make sure you good folks can hear this. Hold on one second. I want to pull this up.
Something happened to Summer on 125.
Something happened to Summer. Now, what we're looking for specifically is this signature right here. Right? This signature. Let's do this. We'll isolate it a little more. So let me go here, and we'll bring this back to here. And we'll bring this back to about here. You can see that it's only isolating the if. Okay, we'll turn it off. Something happened to Summer. So we're looking for this signature here. If, right? See this signature here? You can zoom it in, folks. You can turn your phone sideways, zoom it in. This signature right here, I recorded the word if on my side, right? You can see that the signature is the same shape. If something happened to Summer on 125, right? If something happened. Now, it's going to be exaggerated because I was much closer. So we're not going to use this portion here. We're going to use just the if signature, because what you can see in the signature, if, this is where the F comes in with the teeth. If something happened to Summer on 120, something happens to Summer. If, right? If. Now you go back here and look at your reference, and you've got the same signature right here. If This is the F right here.
If.
Right? Now, let's unmute that one and mute mine. Oops, pardon me. This is Jody's signature. If. Her "if" is actually longer than mine. If. Right?
Or something happens tomorrow. Or something happens.
You got the same signature. So I just wanted to sort of clear up and maybe lend a technical expertise, if I could, to what we may be looking at. I mean, it's if something, right? If something. Follow me? That's Jody's signature, my signature. Jody's signature, my signature. Jody's, mine. It's the same signature. So that's what we have. And I hope that maybe lends a little more, may lend a little more gravity to the situation, because, again, I'm not trying to battle or bash or even debunk. I'm just only trying to bring a technical light to it, right? So,
Something happens.
oops.
Or something happens tomorrow.
Jody's signature.
Or something happens tomorrow.
There. I can't explode it too far, but it's the same basis. It's the same structure, right? And then mine. I mean, it's going to even look the same when you explode it, right? See? You zoom it out, it gets the, you can see where the F comes in. This is the F. The formation of the F is right there. If. Right there. Anyhow, I hope that lent a little more, shed a little more light to it. There is definitely a if there. Again, contention with the if. 1 second. Benny, can you explain the whole thing and use the if? What's her theory or thought? Okay. Why is she now saying the littlest is the one who talked about the dogs? Why ask about the car and the sound? Okay, thank you. Sorry that I missed that, Chasing. That part, I think, is a lot more difficult when you tie it all together, right? So all I can say, I explained it to Fizzle like this. It's like, or and TM. It's like, if you say, I've got a Lamborghini Murcielago. Now, if you've got that, but then you have another statement that says, what I would do if I had a Lamborghini Murcielago. So then it goes into, the if brings it into daydream mode. So let's walk with it. Now, why is she now saying the littlest one is the one who talked about the dogs? That's when she's saying that Mom, look, we agree with Jody about the dogs. That is morphed a few different ways and times. So I think that it's a patchwork of things, Miss Chasing. But also I think that there's the real possibility that she said 125 on purpose instead of 110, because she ended up mentioning both addresses, right? She goes on to mention the road in between the two addresses would be hard to see and hear. Now, whether that's the truth or not, that's not my contention today. But what I know is that there's nothing to suggest, if we believe anything they did with the scent dogs, there's nothing to suggest that the child was on the road in between the two addresses. So it's like, as you venture through what she said, and we can listen to it really quick, as you venture through what she said, what you come to is that you can void out pieces of the story. Let's listen to it really quick. And that's my opinion again, right? You can void out things that she's saying by information that you already have. Now, again, there are a few things that seem a little problematic with other things she's saying, but let's go here really quick. Now, and believe me, Chasing, it breaks my heart to even be able to say there's an if in there, right? Like, I wanted so badly, not because it's Jody, let's get that very clear, but because it seemed like with what was going on and not having access to the audio, that it seemed like she was almost like a confession, right? So
4 separate emails.
Right?
Okay.
Tells me that if something happens.
Now, TM likes to place weight on what she says before, and I think that that's important as well. So I'm going to go back just a little bit to where she's speaking before she comes on with the 125.
That tells me that if something happens.
I don't know, but the next listening to that she was the only.
Oh wait, there's a full version. Hold on.
No, certain kids having the knowledge of it. No really witness to. I'm around 125. Me that.
Pardon me, guys. She plays it and then she plays it all the way through. I think that's it.
Happened somewhere around 125.
Okay, we didn't get what was.
That tells me that if something happened somewhere around 125.
So we get if something happens to Summer on 125.
25. If something happened somewhere around 125.
If something happened to Summer on 125. Now, my contention earlier was that she said the 125 accidentally because she enters in the 110 at the end of the sentence. She just, she gets to the end and says 110. She does that. So she doesn't really give you any context to what the 110 and how that component fits in to the prior statement. That's why I sort of just left it like, well, I'm willing to sort of look at the situation differently because there's an if in it. Now, the other thing that we need to understand is that the if takes it out of the land of direct statement and into hypothesized world, hypothesizing, right? Theoretics, right? It's her way of prefacing it like a YouTuber would have to keep from getting in civil liability. You would say allegedly, or one of those LLY words, right? So you're putting it there so as to cover yourself. So even when she talked about Stahlpump and Voldemort contaminating the jury pool for Boog if needed. Now you certainly can hone the if into if needed for Summers. That's even the way that I conceptualized that when she said it. It was like if needed. Like, okay, so if this thing, no, what I think that also, it could very well be that. But what the if leaves it open to is that if you're being fair with the situation, what she could mean is, hell, 10 years from now, if he gets in trouble with the police, all of this stuff back here could have contaminated a future, and not future just in the way of Summer Wells, but future in his life opposite of Summer Wells. This could contaminate a jury for other things moving forward. And I think that it's, I think that it keeps, as sleuths, it keeps us sharp, looking for all of the different angles. Now, I'll tell you this, all this angle stuff, like when you say she said this, you can't just lay it out like, here she said this. What you really got is something more like this. She said this. But then you got if it's true and if it's fake. or false or a lie, right? So you've always got to look at least 3 angles, and then really what you're probably looking at is just it's fractured. It's fractually a nightmare, because if at any time you narrow her down to this, she can jump over to that, or she can jump over to this, or here, right? She can jump over to anything that fits the if in the moment. Does that make sense? I hope it does. But I just really wanted, because it's almost like, this is going to sound crazy, but when she says she can see sound and shapes, when I see the word if, I see it like that. If, knowing how sound triggers, right? Follow me. Y'all gonna be like, Benny Keys is crazy. Knowing how sound triggers, I know that to make the if, there's an interruption in the signal. So you're gonna have this portion of the signal is the I or the I. In hers, it starts over here. If. So you know that when the signal breaks to go to the F, the signal is going to jump down, but then pick back up. Follow me? So you have that. I know what it's going to look like. And then you've got something, right? You've got all that stretched out behind. So, and actually the something is here. Something. Right? That's what it is.
Something happened somewhere. Something happened.
Now it's good. There's a lag, but if, and she may even have a portion of the S syllable coming in on some of this. If something, right?
Somewhere on 125. Something happened.
Some, and you can see the gap is some. So the trigger goes down. Thing.
Something happened somewhere on 125.
Right? It's just the way the trigger works. So when I heard the word if, I saw the way the trigger was going to go, and I thought, well, if is going to look like if. Now, in the event, let me see if it'll even let me do it. In the event, let's go ahead and make a duplicate track. Now, let me show you this really quick. We can take this, right? And we can go down here. Let's see. Go to region. How are we going to look at this different? Let's see here. Here. Okay. EQ. So if I run an EQ on it, let's go ahead and put the isolator on it, the loop, and we'll make it a little bit bigger here. Oh, Chasing wants a link. Okay, fair enough. Absolutely. Sorry, I can't. I'm terrible at that link deal. I mean, when I'm away from the chat. And while I'm waiting, I can show you really quick the EQ. So you can go ahead. What I did to it was I put a low end filter. That's just to take any ambient sound away, and so that it's going to more close. It takes the bass away too. It takes the bass away. So I don't want too much of that music in there. So, oh, there's Miss Tracy. Oh, sorry. Hello. Hello.
Am I?
You're in.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh,
I got a lag
hear
if the music
myself.
software open.
Oh. Hold on.
You all right? How you doing?
Good. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Is the chat saying I'm buffering?
Oh, wait, hold on. I've got to put,
Echoing?
hold on 1 second. Let me say this here. I've got to put the echo deal on because I use the software. I got different settings than most people. So give me 1 second. And then be good now. We should be good.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's way better. I could hear myself in my own ears. That was horrible.
Sorry about that.
That's fine. Okay, so first several times that I listened to it, definitely didn't hear an if, but I don't listen to her enough to understand how the fuck she talks. So after, this morning, I went, put it in the software, had it generate its own captions, not through YouTube, through the software. So on Faster, it picks up if, and I'm like, okay, cool. It picked up the if. Some people are hearing it, some people aren't hearing it, whatever. My concern is what she's talking about. So I
Correct.
put it up. It's on my channel now, where the sentences before, the sentences after. She's talking about how these kids weren't listened to, how they were all ignored, and the littlest now, not Josie anymore, but the littlest,
Her
talking
little.
about the dogs. No, the baby, the
Well,
little boy.
okay, yes, gotcha. I'm
hmm
sorry.
That he was like, Mama, I told you the dogs can be leading us to summer.
Right.
Okay, so there's that part. Then she pauses and says, if, you know, something happened to Summer on 125, doesn't say anything.
Right.
Just really, then the kids didn't see it, didn't hear it,
Right.
and the
Then
road in between,
she goes on
and
to
then
talk about that weight of the world, right? That weight of the world she
the weight
saw.
of the world's in the beginning, and then she goes back to the weight of the world again after, saying that basically somebody's blaming the boys for this, that
When she
people are
first
blaming.
with the Discord so the information about what was said between her and the boys was, she said, was only for the investigation, not for internet, but it came to the internet. But what she said before was that when she walked up on the boys by the guardrail, she caught them playing and not searching.
Right.
Then you've got to ask yourself, how did one, now what she said in the Discord was this is only for the investigation, that she had caught them playing. And when she asked them, where's your sister, the oldest boy took on the role of the spokesman for the three, which she thought was strange. And the oldest boy replied that we just saw her a few minutes ago on the hill up by the swing set.
Right.
So
And
now
this is I guess what I'm trying to wrap my mind around with people who've listened to her ask before. She's talking clearly and says kids who wouldn't have heard it, kids who wouldn't have seen it, because they were out there playing, watching her, or caring for her, however she says it. Did they see the red flash? Did they hear the car door? Because I believe sometimes that they were out there, but how long were they out there? Well,
right.
hold on, ma'am. You're the one who saw the flash. You're the one who heard the car. So therefore, you were out there when you saw the flash with your son and asked because it didn't hit right. How would the boys also have seen the flash? Are you saying that the boys were out playing? Because you've never mentioned that before. So now, why are you even asking that question when it should be 100% proof positive clear already based on your year and a half of talking that you were the one out there who saw the flash of red and you heard it?
And
And
what she said was that she had to ask Boog, and Boog helped her pass it off as someone that must have known the Wells.
right. But
Yes.
they were down there, right? So they're down there. Now she's asking if the boys saw it. Keep in mind, the rest of this live stream, she's talking very bad about the boys, talking about them having sleepovers with opposite sex, talking about them stomping dogs until their guts fell out, talking about Dawn messaging her and threatening her, I guess during the live, I don't know. She's implying things about the boys on purpose. Then all of a sudden, this weird shit comes up.
I
3/4 of the way through it.
wholeheartedly concur with you that, gonna give it the face value, which was not. It wasn't me taking an oppositional stand against what was
No.
heard. It was more because, and I know it sounds. I didn't want to be looked at like Jody initially. It was like when I hear "if," I know what it looks like in the triggering in the music world, right? So I could already see it and knew that if I recorded the word "if," it was going to look structurally exactly like hers.
Sure.
So for me, it was like you're looking at a mountain and you've got several tunnels you can go into. I chose this tunnel, which has a different context when you enter it. For
Okay,
me,
so she's theorizing on, okay,
abs
let's
like
put it
a
that way then.
right. So, and that's
Tiffany
the way that
just wrote, but she said she was inside when the red flash was there. Would she not have heard the boys? You know, they're so loud, she can hear them from their hill to her hill.
and we've
So,
never heard that. But what we have heard is that the boys were told, "Don't answer the door for anyone."
mhm,
That's what Candace has said. Now, also when you load the pretext or the preface context, it within reason they had an impending CPS visit on the way.
mhm,
So if now with that known, also entering in the fact that to some degree Jody had a camera on what was coming in and out of Ben Hill Road.
mhm,
So with all the speculation on who, because she said, I've got all the SD cards of people coming and going, the searchers.
mhm.
She said she had the SD cards ready for the police on the 15th before they got there. She had all the comings and goings. So for
Right.
her to speculate about what she said was is there was a window through the trees. And her and Boog, you're right. It's like a lotto odd. Her and Boog happen to be looking through the same window at the same time, see the same sound, and hear the same flash. See the same flash.
Yeah, I thought she said she was on the bank too, and Boog was checking the lines and she saw the red flats. Deets just put that there. But okay, let's forget everything else we've talked about. This is what I'm thinking. She's saying if something happened to Summer on 125, then there are kids who didn't see it, referring to across the road because she says between the road. There are kids
Right.
who didn't see it. Where is she implying that the boys were on 110 out in the
Well,
road? Where are
now,
they? Because if you reverse that and take out her saying 125 and put it back on 110, if something happened to Summer on 110, there are kids that didn't see it, didn't hear it, didn't see shit
correct. And I
because
said,
they're across the road, which would be
right.
110. So what is she trying to say?
Now, my interpretation
Mhm.
of what that could mean is that so if you go back and you're like she didn't mean that she didn't actually mean something happened to Summer on 125. She
Right.
meant 110. So
Mhm.
when you rearrange the addresses and she's like, if something happened to Summer on 110 and the boys didn't have knowledge and weren't witness to it. So
Mhm.
then you start to think back to what H told CM, and that was that he was told the boys were with Don at work. So that starts to go a different angle. Like maybe they weren't on 125, maybe they were with Don at work.
But then she refers to them being outside caring for Summer, that they were supposed to be caring for Summer. And is that
Correct.
why people are blaming them because they didn't care for Summer? And by the people, she's referring to the parents because the
Correct.
parents aren't listening to what they're trying to say, right? So the
Absolutely.
boys must have some knowledge. That's what she's implying. In the
Right.
same live stream, she's talking about the boys stomping on dogs until their guts come out. That would be one of the first signs of a psychopath or a serial killer.
I
So
agree.
you're putting this stuff on the boys. Then you're feeling sorry for the boys. Then you're wondering if the boys were outside. Well, why are you doing all of that? And you're putting Domwell's name in the title, knowing he cannot be on social media, knowing that he's not supposed to talk about the boys. So your whole live stream is talking about the boys and Dawn. You're doing this for a reason. What is it? That's what was my question. Why are you doing this? And what is the point? If their own parents can't talk about them, why the fuck are you?
Right.
And why are you saying they stomp animals until their guts come out, and then the Candace sat there and laughed about it?
And she never,
What?
or like, and Jody never reported this behavior. Like, there's so many things, and that's the thing that's so shocking as an outsider, Miss Chasing, is that when I hear of the things that Jody alleges she saw, from the sedatives to now this, to all these other things, as a mandated reporter in the state of Tennessee who seems so diligent after everything's already done, she's using these instances to try to paint Don and Candace as bad parents. However, she didn't report them either.
And she was the first one to say they would have never done anything because they love their child. So she gave us that narrative to go by. Then when that narrative wasn't bringing her the views or attention, I guess, her narrative switched. And now it's switched even further. And she seems to be trying in some way to involve the boys, but not involve the boys, because she knows she'll be attacked for that.
Yes,
so
she's
kind of
hypothetically trying to create a scenario that could make sense to some people that she hopes takes off like a grass fire.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion.
I think that's what she's doing, because to even put out in the universe, did the boys see the red flash? You're saying to us they were outside. You tell us you can hear their conversations. You can hear what they're talking about. You know every sound those boys make. Oh boy, do I know every sound they make.
Every sound. I've heard all the sounds they make. Very good point. So, I don't know. I think that these conversations are so powerful because you really, I think you get to the, you're going to get to some understanding. But however, at the same time, I understand the language of the Sioux well. And she's going to use like the word if offsets the whole context once it's regarded in a way in the context, right? So she also could say, what if Andy drove his vehicle off a cliff,
Sure.
Right? It's in that daydream realm, and then being able to pick through the available details you can recall, like for instance, I completely omit any information that has to do with what could or couldn't be seen, or were the kids on the road in between the driveways. If they were, Jody would have a video of it because she has video. She's got video pointed at the Peepers' house. She said this man is a creeper. She knew about the stuff with his daughter. She knew about stuff with his sister. She hypothesized about things with his daughter. She had to have a camera somewhere.
Well, she definitely said some things about the boys and having opposites at sleepovers and holding hands and doing this. And what are you implying, Jody? What are you trying to say? First, Don comes out naked, he's coming out of the shower, and you can see through fucking walls the night before, and then we don't know if it's the night before. But you know all of that. You know that little girls are up there, allegedly this and that's happening to them. Then Andy's the one bringing the sedatives over there. Now the boys are stomping on animals. Also the BB guns with the boys. You're trying to somehow, for whatever reason it is, turn this again when you've twisted and turned everybody for all of this time. Now an 11-hour live?
11
about
hours.
What?
Yeah, about what?
About what?
Let me tell you, I was told, Miss Chasing, I was told by someone that I research with regularly, who is always spot on, that there was a window last year where they were taking in new recruits into the forces without a GED. It was a small window. They took some people. I don't know how many. I just thought that was interesting because, as far as I understand in the context, that the eldest hadn't been in school in like 7 or 8 years. So to think that this guy is going to rush out and pass a GED, like, I'm a bright fella, but the GED isn't really a test, even back then when I took it, that you were going to really want to take over and over and over. So it was just worth doing a little studying, right, to pass the first time. So I was told that there was a window for that, and I just found that interesting. Like contextually, it might make a little more sense as to why, when you speculate in your mind why someone went somewhere, maybe even during a window where the qualification was the standard was much lower, right? So, and of course, knowing that a lot of times people that are involved in things, they're really involved in what the optics of themselves look like, right? They want to feel
Oh my
confident
God.
in the fact that their optic looks good to people, right? Uh-oh. We had an oh my God, and then she dropped. I hope that everything is okay. Prayers for Miss Chasing. Oh, there she goes. Okay. Scared me. Girl, you scared me.
I fell off. I walked out of my garage and
And you
fell
lost.
right off. Shit.
Yes,
I,
Fizzle says we only need to know that what she only needs to know what if is contingent upon, and we or I think will know 125 ties to Summer's disappearance, and because it might, uh, she has to villainize the boys to protect and deflect.
hmm.
Um,
There's got to be a reason she's been on here for this long, talking about all these things, talking in circles. And I always felt, always, everything she's ever said has just been a big circle. And who really cares because she wants attention or she uses this as a diary or I don't know. Then I heard that clip, that part, and was like, wait, what? Why even theorize that? What are you trying to say? So
right.
then I
It's
listened to more of it and listened to more of it. And I'm like, wait a minute, ma'am, you're
it's
implicating the boys.
absolutely. I mean, full wholeheartedly. And then with the kind of information that is dangerous, no matter if it's true or false, like that stuff about the
Right.
animals and the boys, like whether it's false or true to put it out there is horrendous
It
if
is.
the wrong people run into that later on down the road, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she did what I knew she was doing. Like she's picked up this new trend, Miss Chasing, where she's doing the lives, then she's privating them while she requests a review. Once the review hits green again, she's putting them back out.
She's gross, man.
She's
I
she's
just,
going in and deleting out information, right?
yeah,
She's just waiting
yeah.
for it to monetize to put it back out. She doesn't want to miss any spins.
Yeah, and she's so concerned. She thinks that people are buying off people to talk to. You're always concerned about money. You're
Always.
constantly concerned about this one's money, that one, who's getting this, who's getting that. Why? If this was all about Summer, you never show her picture. You never put her poster up there.
Never.
You you only talk about yourself and how you're a victim and you've been abused and this has happened to you and people are destroying your life and doing all of the things to you. Well, you're over here talking about little boys
In
and
the
all of
in
this bullshit. So I, she's accused me of harassing her real life and doing all the things online to her. I don't even listen to that loony. But
you know
now I am.
that's what's crazy is that we have someone who celebrated being called a persons of interest, right? Like, I'm not a suspect, I'm a persons of interest. Okay, cool. But this is the thing. Can you imagine? It's in the spirit and the aura of like, let's say Ted Bundy. He's a
Mm-hmm.
suspect, but they ain't arrested him yet. So he's online threatening people and calling the police on them as a person's of interest. Like
Right.
that is the wildest thing. Now, the second
Ever.
part, ever it is. It's
You
completely
wouldn't want attention on yourself. You would go
absolutely
away and hide your children and make sure that they're living a normal life and be cautious of the things happening around you instead of spending 11 hours straight. People could be up to damn no good trying to do all the things, and you're over here just
yeah.
constantly
Let
online
me
talking about the same shit.
let me ask you something really quick, and I want to give you the opportunity. It's not a setup. Veronica, thank you
Hmm.
so much for your super sticker this afternoon. You know, it means the world to me. Is
Hold
there
on,
something?
I got to get my dog.
Okay,
Aries, he's trying to go with my daughter in the car. She's going to work. No, don't let him in there. Aries, come here, buddy. Aries. Oh, he doesn't listen. He's half deaf. Come here. Come on, buddy. Call him, please. He's trying to. Okay, go.
Old
He
puppies come
wouldn't come
first.
back. He was trying to jump in her car so that when she's leaving. I'm
If there
sorry.
was
Go ahead.
if there was something, a message you wanted to say to Jody that you wouldn't feel comfortable saying on your own channel, but maybe would say it on someone else's, feel free.
Yeah, I would tell her enough is enough. She has used this case for her own attention. She absolutely is collecting money. She's not the victim here. Summer is, not her. She's tried to lead people in every direction. It's really clear what she's doing. And enough is enough. She should be banned, gag ordered, to stop talking about this. She's the neighbor. She could have seen something.
I feel like they should have stretched the gag order to cover anyone that was a person's of interest, not just the family. You see it all the time. You know, judges are capable of pulling media gag orders, right? Where, where like all of the media can't say anything without the fear of being contempt of court or, civilly sued or something. They could have expressed that on all people, or even just done a general media gag order. Now that I feel like when you have news outlets that are confronted with trying to tightrope what is a violation of the gag order or what is the right to the freedom of information, they become disinterested and they cover something else, right? So
sure, yeah, and that's the whole thing too, is we don't want her name not to be out there, right? So if that's what she was doing, that's one thing. But the media puts it on when there's tons of speculation. And that's all she's ever done.
Correct.
She gave us her timeline, okay? But then she gives information in January that changes in August.
Correct.
And she thinks that people aren't keeping up with that. They are.
They are. We are.
Now the littlest boy is the one saying this stuff, and
yeah, I mean, one of the things that really stuck out about the story to me was the weight of the world. Like I focused on that because, so the way that it developed for me yesterday was Skilo came on and made her post. You came on, made a post, and then came on with the audio and then made another post. So I was already sort of keyed up with the quote unquote weight of the world. I was like, okay, this is going to be part of, and when it came, it was like, it was lackluster, Miss Chasing, because I was like, hold on. You mean you're trying to say that the boys have the weight of the world on them looking down at the ground when you see them, but meanwhile you said before when you caught up to them, you caught them, you said you caught them playing and not searching. So all of a sudden they're playing, and then when they see you, they go to weight of the world on them. Well, maybe it's not the weight of the world as much as it is what Don said in the chat that triggered Jody, and that is that the kids are terrified of Jody.
And
that's what she starts to sound like.
She acted like she caught them doing something. They were playing, okay, whatever, and they looked up at her and whatever. But in the same breath, she's trying to say that, or imply that after the 15th, that the boys are talking about the dogs in front of her, so that the Wells and her and the boys would be around each other, and she's overhearing these conversations, and people are just telling the boys to shut the fuck up. The dogs are fucking stupid animals.
I had that conversation with Candace, and what she said, how she explained it to me was that Jody had come over to their house and was standing in the kitchen, and the boys everyone was in the kitchen, and as I recall, Candace said something to me like she was kind of standing right where you are right now, and it was like back by the door, but she was like, yeah, kids were like, yeah, we agree, with Jody Sue, Mom, and I didn't go into didn't go into nothing else after that. I asked the question. She told me that situation had indeed happened, But the rest of the shut the fuck up, boys, and all that stuff like that was never risen. That was never rose before until now.
Right. Now the kids are trying to convince mom that the dogs are acting weird. Basically, that they're trying to go where Summer is. So the dogs are leaving the hill and tracking now. They're trying to go where Summer is. Oh,
Right.
Okay.
And and
Why
then
didn't she follow them then? Why didn't Jody follow the dogs then? If she
that,
believed in it and Candace didn't, why didn't you follow the dogs then?
that was one of the things that I had always said, Miss Chasing, was that she said that they had asked law enforcement to put on these cameras and these trackers on these dogs, but they never wanted to. And it's like, why didn't you just do it yourself?
Yeah, they're called GoPros. Just put one on their neck until they get back.
They said that they had trackers. What she said is there's several people in the community that have trackers and we have cameras. And it's like, why are you not just going to put them? That's not interfering with any investigation. If you put a tracker on a dog, it's your dog. You do what you want.
Yeah.
So that part never made sense to me. It was, there's a lot of things in life that are could be the right thing to do. And you just don't ask permission for.
You just do it. Follow the damn dogs. That's not against the law.
Right.
If you're so interested in these dogs and the dogs are the key and all of that bullshit, and then you went to Candace's and the kids agree with you, and you're still stuck on it now, 600 and some odd days later, why didn't you follow the dogs? Why didn't you just see where they were going?
And I guess there was a little context. Like there was a situation allegedly where Andy and JSB they became knowledgeable that the dogs were allegedly going across. She said they were going across Beach Creek, which was unusual for them. She'd even mentioned that she had seen the dogs way up by where the command center was at one point in time, which is quite a ways for the dogs to be. Now, moving it back, when she says the dogs are the key, I feel like I got to the bottom of what she meant by that. And what she meant by that was the strange occurrence of her saying the dogs were going across Beach Creek into the small cemetery across Beach Creek right there. Then that's when Andy came in with this idea that, well, there had just been a funeral there and that maybe they, for instance, what did he say? Maybe they had put Summer down in there with that. And that they had told the police and that had been cleared, that the cemetery had been cleared. So that's all the information about that in a nutshell. And so when you get to the end and you're like, okay, she says the dogs are the key. What actions were the dogs doing that seemed strange? Okay, they were up by Beach Creek. They were going across over into the cemetery. What was it, Morrison?
So she saw that. She saw that with her eyes. So she did follow them then.
Allegedly, yeah, her and Andy allegedly.
Didn't she follow them? Okay,
or
so her and Andy followed them. Okay, they went to the cemetery.
It's called Morrison Cemetery, right? Mm-hmm. So she alleges that they reported that, and the police came over in some degree. Cleared it is what we understand. So after that, now what else is strange about the dogs, right? I mean, once they clear the area you think is strange, what's strange about them now? Or are you just continuing to say that same behavior is strange? But
because you're trying to throw everything else off.
Correct. And
whatever you actually know, really.
Right. If your dogs are the key, and then you start seeing dog after dog after dog after dog from that pack of dogs that were originally there that you think are the key, now there's none of those original dogs are banded together and the keys are all gone. You would have thought you would have seen this emoting from Jody where she might have even said something like, oh my God, all the dogs are gone. We're never going to find her. You didn't see that. Once the last dog left, it was no sweat off her back. So it was like, I didn't feel like she ever placed the real actual importance on those dogs that she should have.
Mm-mm.
No.
And I think she's always tried to, from the very beginning, very, very subtly put blame on Josie. That's what I think. That she's tried to do it in a way that is very, undercover a little bit. But now Dawn can't come online, allegedly.
Right.
So what is she trying to do? Why are you having 11-hour lives talking about that household? Not Summer, that household, that boy, what they've done. You don't, I've never heard somebody say that dogs' guts get kicked out. What
No,
does that
that's
even mean? So you're literally saying somebody, Candace, Dawn, the boys, killed a dog. They stomped the guts out of the dog. And what? Went on about their normal days, and Candace found this amusing, and,
did
then
nothing.
they went and ate dinner. What the
Right.
fuck are you talking about?
No, it didn't happen like that. No.
No, I would guess not. That it
Did you
wouldn't
see?
happen like that.
No, hell no. Did you see um Skilo's community tab yesterday? I'm gonna assume you
Yes.
did. Okay.
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you get and it's just a yes or no. Did
Hmm.
you ever get any more context on the portion that she put right here? I'll highlight it about Boog.
You should have been more worried about your son. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know about that Facebook
Oh,
video?
absolutely.
You've seen it?
Listen, the Facebook stuff that kid had on his Facebook, if you know what anime is, there's a whole sector of anime that was on the web called 4chan. And back
Or
in the day, 4chan was very much about lollies, LOLIS, and
this other word right here, yeah.
it was very perverse. So it was anime characters that little children with adults and other things. Then it 4chan got into a lot of trouble, and
Whoa.
it went to a different chan. Oh, it was tons of child porn, tons and tons. I can't even tell you how much. It was
So
horrific.
it's almost like they had made this anime a fad for people to watch where it's like not
A
the real thing.
cartoon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any context about this portion right here?
He laughed while playing with cat's butthole on Facebook Live not so long ago. I don't have that. I've definitely
You've
heard
heard
about
about
it.
it, have you or no?
Absolutely. I have heard about it, yeah.
So it is a real thing.
Yeah, allegedly. It's a real thing. I've never seen it. I don't ever want to see it, but I can tell you that his likes, you know how you like stuff on Facebook or whatever,
Yes.
they were concerning. They were very concerning.
Really?
And he's an adult, so it is what it is. I'm
Correct.
sorry to say that, but he is an adult
I
and
mean,
he
even
can
if you're
like
at like
whatever he wants.
15,
You might like,
16,
yeah,
you
you
don't
might
even look
like
at
some kind of weird porn that I don't know about and never need to, and I may feel the same. And you might like to
deets.
look at weird pictures that are whatever. But this stuff, like moms with sons sucking titties and just
Oh,
weird shit,
oh my.
it just was off. To me, it was off. I'm like, why would anybody be listening to this or watching
So
this? This is weird.
Deet says that the video from Facebook is a real thing and she's heard it.
Oh,
So
there you go. Yeah.
wow.
I mean,
I don't want to be exposed to it. It just to
mm-mm.
verify that that actually happened, credibly verify it. It starts to give you, with what we know about all the animals in the family, right? Like there's snakes we've never seen again. There's cats. There's dogs. We've got a cat now that can, barely breathe. And to know that to credibly know if something like that he was involved with publicly on a Facebook Live, I would find that extremely extremely troubling.
Yeah, I don't know if he was doing it as a joke, like poking the cat's butt. Or, I don't know. I've only heard about it. I've never seen the
Yeah,
video. I did see the likes, I seen them
yeah.
myself. I mean, there were hundreds of them, and some were absolutely harmless. They were nothing, military and silly stuff, whatever, nothing. But some led back to areas that I know what, because on my channel, that's what we used to research, conspiracies and, the Illuminati and pedos and all of this shit. So I knew all about that channel, the
Right.
Chan, as it's called. And I'm like, oh shit, is this stuff coming from there?
I mean, even if
And
you had 1,000,000 likes and every single one was good, except for that one that isn't
weird
good.
one.
Yeah. I mean, if it goes anywhere back to CP, if it leads anywhere back to any materials that are like that, like, nah, you got something going on. Right?
Well, most of his ones were like women with big boobs, and they weren't his likes were not the CP nature. They were
Okay.
more of big boobed women that were anime women. They weren't children.
Gotcha.
But that whole anime thing
Right.
originated, or
The platform.
used to be right, right, right.
Right.
It
Where
was
he would go
just
look
a
at the
big thing.
videos he liked also had other videos that weren't appropriate.
Mm. He has a picture of a man doing a split with a prom. I
Is a
don't
picture of
know.
a man.
I don't know. That's what
Is a
some
picture of
basic.
a man doing a split with a prominent butt. Well, fair enough. I mean, if that's his thing.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I would hate to implicate her kid as much as I hate to hear her implicating Josie or Waylon or Wyatt. She has no right to do that. I have no right to do that to her kid. However, we've got more curious things about her and her family than we should be placing on little boys who have been interviewed by, what did they say? They had specialists, FBI psychologists, whatever, talk to these kids, and they're still wherever they are. That we know the story about John Bonet, where everybody accused her brother of doing it. They have to go through a lot. If there's even an inkling that one of those boys could have done something, then the law enforcement's handling it. It isn't up to Jody to make assholes on the internet think possibly these little psychopaths are running around shooting dogs and kicking them up their ass and getting their guts out and having sleepovers with little girls and Dawn's naked and whatever the hell. No, you're trying to imply something that isn't normal at all. And every time anybody says anything about her, we're attacking her. Well, you're on the fucking internet for 11 hours at a time. What do you want us to do? You're talking about the case we all were talking about before your ass was even on fucking YouTube. Just because you're the fucking neighbor, you're going to be listened to. And the shit that spews out of your mouth is going to be dissected, whether you fucking like it or not. Stop talking about 125 and 110 in summer and the boys. Just stop doing it, and people wouldn't have anything to pick apart because you're not helping. You're yet to fucking help. You're confusing shit. And I think that's ultimately what you want, so that you can remain the victim since Andy moved on and he's no longer, putting you in a little box and doing all the things. You need attention elsewhere so that you can continue to be a victim. And guess what? You found the place. It's the internet. And it's working for you, and you're getting a little bit of money on the side.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
suck. You suck
Yeah.
for doing this.
Yeah, big time. And so somebody sent me some readouts on the statute of, is that sort of material illegal? And they have been focusing on trying to get it tightened up. However, what it boils down to is the simplified definitions referred to content which was visually viewable and which could not be readily distinguished by viewers as not containing depiction of real children. In addition, much of the presented material, when translated for the United States market, had removed scenes of children being depicted, or stated that the outwardly childlike appearance did not reflect the actual age of the character. So what it boils down to is that the new act seemed to be primarily and rather specifically aimed at addressing more realistic appearing computer generated depictions of minors in S situations or engaging in a SA, an S act. The definition by lawmakers went on to state quite clearly this definition does not apply to depictions that are drawings, cartoons, sculptures, paintings depicting minors. So it does not at this time effectively cover that as CP, evidently.
Yeah, it's lovely. I
Love
mean, what the stuff that they used to have on these chans, this internet board where you can find almost anything,
Yeah.
was horrific.
Yeah.
And you couldn't avoid it.
Good
When
God.
we started to go down the rabbit hole, we were like, okay, our eyes are going to burn out and the feds are going to be at our doors. We can't look at this. So we started researching it itself on other websites. Okay, what is this Chan? What are they showing on there? What kind of people are going on there? And all of it was bad. None of it was good. And I think it was intended to be something else originally, like gamers forums and stuff like that.
It just took a
And
turn.
yeah, and perverts infiltrated and started posting what they could get away with. And a lot of it was the lollies, the little anime toddler children, whatever. And because it was a drawing, it's right there on the line. And they're not drawings. I mean, I guess they are. I don't know. They were just. It was horrible.
It's
So
artistical renderings,
yeah.
and I
Ugh.
guess that's where, like you said, it's pushing the envelope all the time to see what they're going to allow, what they won't. And as it becomes like a wildfire, it forces legislation to make definitive lines on that. And when they do, what happens is a scenario like this where people understand that, okay, if it's anime or it's something like this and it depicts these sort of images, it's not illegal. Actually, it's
Right.
morally illegal on the moral and spiritual side, but in terms of legality, it's not. It's covered. So they're forcing them to show their hand, right?
Right.
You want people to just think anytime they see something and it looks like little kids, it's against law. But now these
Right.
people know that certain artistical renderings are not covered under these cyber CP laws.
Well, I know they did get in touch with the web servers or the company who ran those chans, and they started banning it, and people were getting banned right off of there, which was good. And they had warnings up: do not post this type of content.
Right.
So that did help, but if people are out there looking for it, they're going to find it. Even
That's
the drawings of the big breasted women, right? So they're drawings, but then they're in crazy sex scenes.
right.
So because they're drawings and they look cute, your kids can find these, right?
Right. That's crazy because when I'm looking for something online useful, a lot of you got to navigate through all the BS. And it's like how much time these kids are spending, a ton of time finding out, or, I say kids, but adults as well. They're spending a ton of time trying to find out where they can go find the things they want to look at. And I guess I say kids because if you've got adults looking at things they're not necessarily morally supposed to be looking at there, it's available for kids to come look, and they're not old enough to be there, right? So
Because
no.
there's still anime around, Japanese cartoons and all of these things. My son runs across it all the time in his game playing. So if he goes and searches just the word anime kids, I don't know what the fuck he's going to come across.
Probably a
Because,
little bit of everything, the way the search engine optimization works.
yeah, and it's just crazy. I don't know. I don't remember everything that was on her son's Facebook. I don't even know if it's still up. It probably still is, and it's under his likes. I mean, so there you go. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why she's doing the things she does. And before all of this, you know, what were the attacks on her children? I mean, it's been very rarely I've ever heard her daughter mentioned. And then, of course, the driveway thing with the son was mentioned, or the mailbox thing. And
Right.
I can understand a mother being mad about that, especially if it wasn't true.
Yeah.
Of course. But it came and it went. And she
You're right. In fact,
continues.
there was a
She,
few months
yeah.
ago, maybe 4 up to 5 months ago, she had claimed that somebody was driving down the road and they let out 5 tires, spare tires, out of the back of a truck, and that they rushed up through the yard and smashed through the windows. Like you hear about these crazy things, but you never hear any recourse afterwards, right? Like
Or
you,
pictures to prove it, or a
yeah, nothing.
video, or a police report. Like who? Who, ma'am? Who? You're hyper vigilant.
Yeah,
You know, you're
like
the woman who's always looking for the things, and
yeah,
people are letting out